hope everybody is well. I don't ever hear a beep on this channel. I'm not sure why. Sorry, messing with my own volume there. Hope everybody's doing well. It's been a few. I try to get a couple of videos in on my days off, and I might schedule a few in advance if I'm feeling ambitious. Because there's a few things just little excerpts from books I've read and whatnot that can fill in the gaps when I am not doing live streams or whatever, because I'm working and just doing life and doing other things. So I hope everybody is okay and their mindset is good and that you are all enduring and not just surviving but thriving as best you can. Let's keep in mind that success isn't always measured by how fat your bank account or your wallet is, or how big and shiny your car is, or how expensive your house was, if you have a house. That's not what success means, although that's what we've been taught it is in America, and our materialism is coming back to reap what we have sown here very quickly. And I'm still shocked that so many people think things are just going to continue on the way that they have, and haven't wanted to listen to warnings. I think I've been personally trying to talk to my family since 2016, 2015, even before that. And funny, my spouse went down the same rabbit holes that I did, but we both ended up in different destinations. I found God. Not sure what he found. And I also think it's time that we look at our commonalities. Now, it's been said that the AC, the Antichrist of our generation, will be ecumenical and promote some type of ecumenicism. I don't know if that's right. I hope it's right. And I would mostly agree with that to a point. But we need to be gathering with people that we have more in common with these days than we have differences with. And it goes deeper than politics. It doesn't matter if we vote for somebody or not. We are seeing now how different we are. And sometimes the fact that communities were built originally by putting people together who had common goals and visions for their lives. Sit down, Samson. You're going to sit on the baby girl. Don't sit on her. Man, you'd be a horrible mama. Yes, you would. Sorry. This is how we roll here. If you are bothered by the lack of polish, there are plenty of sponsored channels you can go to, I'm certain. But if you want something a little deeper, if you're seeking truth, no matter where you may find it, if you are open and loving to all, though firm in your foundations, you're welcome here. Let's not be hateful. I don't even know where to begin. I'm so disillusioned at the moment. But I'm feeling personally hopeful, like on the inside. I have joy, right? Like, because I'm never alone anymore, I guess, because I recognize that God is with me. Us, all of us. So I'm never alone, right? And some people might say, well, why do you talk about yourself so much? It's not about me. It's never been about me. Each one of us that is doing some version of this online or on YouTube or on TikTok right now is doing our best to use our personal talents and gifts and showcase that, and to bring things forward, to bring some type of truth forward. I don't know what you're smelling, but you need to stop. Seriously, you're not getting any more treats. He's had peanut butter cookies and now he's just on the hunt, I guess. Samson, lay down. But we all have a common enemy at this time, and the best thing that we can do is to change ourselves. Lay down. Lay down. Is to change ourselves to be the best version of us that we can be. And I don't mean perfect, to just try and do better today than we did yesterday and live in our todays. And yes, it's important to plan for future generations, but don't lose the joy and the gift that is in the present. And we know that's why it's called a present, is because it's a gift. You need to lay down. That's why you're making yourself fussy. Stop being gross. Lay down. My gift is words, and so I use my personal testimony because that is how we defeat our enemy, through the word of our testimony and the blood of the Lamb, through his sacrifice for us, as a template to show us how to walk this out. Because yes, I do believe it takes work, and not just faith without works is dead. I mean, we're told that too. I don't understand how people cherry pick like things that they like and dislike. I would agree that we're supposed to divide the word properly, because I don't believe every word in the book is commissioned by God or spoken like from the position of God. And that's a big mistake that people who never read it make. There are a lot of things in the Bible that are not condoned there. They're there to teach you and to expose them and to bring things into the light and say, don't do this. This is where you'll end up. It is so gratifying, and I have to say this to anyone who was here with the original channel, Brie and Jen. It is so gratifying to see the work that we did on that channel finally rippling outwards. The butterfly effect is real. We were talking about things people were calling us crazy for, about seeing black-eyed people and how certain individuals' faces were changing. And, not everyone, right? I don't see a demon in everyone. Certain individuals seem to have something going on. I don't care personally if you call it an alien invasion, infestation, demonic syndrome. It's all the same thing. Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins, years ago, said he was with a woman, twice the same woman, and he saw her change in front of him. When they get excited or agitated or confronted, this is what happens to them. They rather freak out. It didn't take much for Sonia Massey did it. All she told that cop was, I rebuke you. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. She didn't even say it strong. She was turning her pot off. She had her back pretty much turned. And he said, oh, you going to come at me with that water? She said, oh, no, I would never. I'm just, getting it taken care of like you asked me. And she said, for that, I'll just tell you, I rebuke that. I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. And the dude freaked out. I don't know what to tell people anymore. But I'm so glad to see that the stuff we've been talking about for years, the underground tunnels, how missing 411 and the UFO sightings and the Bigfoot sightings, and there's one more. And the underground tunnels, how they all are pretty much the same map when you lay them on top of each other. We did that on this channel live, or the other channel. And of course it was not saved because it was live. But I have to confess, I do feel a little some type of way that people are banking and monetizing off of it. And I may have to move again, and, inflation. So, yeah, I'm confessing some pride there. Make me stop it because it's just enough that the work we've done has started to bear good fruit. And I have prayed for that for so long, to show that I am of God, like I am God's daughter now. And there is fruit being born, and that is amazing. On that note about TikTok, I like to ramble a little bit for the first few minutes because people don't always get notifications. All my disclaimers are in the description box. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a legal professional. I'm not a professional at anything. I'm muddling through most of this like all of you. I'll never claim to be a legal or any type of expert or professional, but I will express to people what I have learned, and especially if it has taught me a lesson. Trying to do that with the young people I work with, but that's a whole other video. Oh, by the way, watch for an upload after this sometime in the next 24 hours. You probably won't get a notification for it, but it's more matrix male gaslighting. I got a package in the mail, and it's just from a charity. It's just from an animal, from PETA to be specific. But all the pieces of gifting that they sent me, all the symbolism is very just on point. So I'm going to do, it might be a 3-minute video. So watch for that if you're interested. Now let's check this out. I saw this on TikTok. And again, if you go to our playlist here on this channel, you'll see a playlist about portals. And in that playlist, you'll see we've done a lot of discussion in the last several years. Some on this channel, some on the other channel. I still have all the information, and I still have some of the smaller videos. I'm thinking of uploading them to this channel, but I will, the original date will be on them and a screen stamp or whatever. But this is a continuation because we're always building, right? We're not trying to go over old information, but I'm going to refresh in case, because it's been a while since we touched on this. Okay, so originally mirrors were made out of what is called obsidian and obsidian backing. Let me turn the comments on. Originally, mirrors were made of a obsidian backing. Let me show you, because I like to do my homework, so y'all see I'm not just telling tales. My bad, fix that. There we go. Okay, so obsidian mirrors. Obsidian is black. It's a stone that is made from lava, from when volcanoes erupt, allegedly. It is basically dried up volcano tar, resin. And people have used this for millennium to scry, to divine, and it has also been used in Aztec ritual sacrifices. They used obsidian knives for that. Now, let me be clear. I am a Christ follower. But if you are afraid of symbols, words, and books or information, I cannot help you if you're still in that place, because we are far beyond that at this point, and it is about time that we faced our fears. If you are afraid of these things, I would urge you and encourage you to look at them, to face them, and to take the power they have over you away from them, because anything you're afraid of is living rent-free in your head, and I know this. I know this because I was afraid for so long of an individual, and I don't know why. It must be Stockholm's. I don't know what else to call it, because surely it is not the love I'm supposed to have for my fellow man. But again, that's another video, another part of my testimony. So to bounce back, though, to flash back, when all this started and my aunt, certain people that had been out of my life for many years suddenly wanted something to do with me. Suddenly, and again, this all leads up to today with the Antichrist spirit and monitoring spirits that have watched some of us our entire lives. And I saw a bit on TikTok. If any of you are on TikTok and you can find me a specific video, and again, if you like the topics, give the video a thumbs up. It ain't going to do nothing for the channel. The channel will never be monetized by sponsors as far as I'm where I stand right now. Even if I get better equipment and I do the better videos with the picture-in-picture and all that, I still don't know if it'll ever be monetized. But it lets me know if you're tracking with what I'm saying, if we are still building and everybody's following. So when all this started around 2016, my aunt, everybody was giving me clues, right? I think the deal is like to get you to consent to your own demise. Basically, every person that's involved gets you to say a specific word or phrase, whether it be yes, no, and it all goes in reverse, all right? The end comes before the beginning of the spell. So somebody will say something to you, it'll be very random, it won't make any sense. The same thing will happen maybe a couple of weeks later. They're doing all this, and if they get you to say these certain words, then the karma is off of them. You've now consented to your own sacrifice to their God. And let's be very clear. The little ones who have been ended, again, I will say it over and over and over again, Those are baby saints. Those are martyred saints. They are not sacrifices for Moloch or Baal. They are not going there. They are in heaven with God. Or maybe they've been gifted to be reborn elsewhere so they can live out their lives in full. I don't personally know. I just know God does not condemn innocent souls like that who haven't even been born or awakened yet. So I just we got to make that clear, okay? And that's the whole problem with this is like you end up agreeing that you're some sacrifice for one of their gods when it's not even your God. And, then we get into this whole mess. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. This is how they operate. You don't have to believe me. I've given enough information. I share another TI who's in New York. Very, very intelligent man. He rides a bike everywhere. I think he's a door dasher in New York City. And I share his stuff sometimes. He's just very smart. Like he's beyond me. He's very scientific with all of this. And he talks about EMF waves and frequencies. And I go to other people for that stuff. I stay with the spirit and I learn from them and I try to refer you to them, or I will sometimes expand on what they're teaching so you can see every food has a frequency, every food has a vibration, every color has a frequency, has a sound. Terrence McKenna is correct about that. Roy G. Biv. Okay? Every letter is a note, is a symbol for a note. These things are all connected. And if you can get them all in synchronicity, the way that they're supposed to flow, your body, your temple will be a temple for nothing but the Holy Spirit. And you will be vibrating at such a high frequency that you will be basically invisible to these other lower level frequencies and energies that are trying to drag you down. So when all this started and my aunt was trying to get me to say, she had called me and she said, the dogs took me for a walk. I cut my knee. I said, oh my God, is it that bad? She said, I'm going to have therapy. I said, I'll come down. I'll help you out. No. And again, I wonder if it was even my aunt at this time, if it was somebody already at that time using the voice technology, because after this, I didn't see anybody. When all this started going on, I've not been able to actually get a hold of any of my relatives outside of this area. I believe I've been talking to some type of, AI interference there, or an individual, but I try to blame the entities and not my loved ones or, my fellow man. I'm trying to walk this out like Jesus these days, and that doesn't mean I'm always got to be nice. Like time for nice is done. We need to be blunt. We need to be to the point, as concise as possible, as clear as possible, and as forgiving as possible. Give people grace if they misspeak. Give people grace if they use the wrong word and they, maybe they're on a different wavelength than you. Maybe you're on a different wavelength than them. Give yourself some grace if you mess up at work. We are not perfect. And here's a big surprise. I don't know why people don't know this, but neither are computers or robots. They're made and programmed by man, and man is faulty. So the computers, therefore, are going to be faulty, faultier than man. Everything a being creates is less than itself. I put a piece of myself in every piece of artwork or every craft or even every meal that I do. But I still have all of me, right? That's what God did. And people that deny, oh, you don't have a divine spark within you, there are Christians saying this. Well, what do you call the Holy Spirit then? We got to stop. We got to stop the arguing over this stuff. So anyway, she calls me. She tells me she got cut her knee. And she was trying to get me to say the word. She's like, on that, that landscaping rock that people use in their yards. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what kind. I don't know why it matters. It seems like it really hurt you. Are you okay? Fire rock, like lava rock. It comes from a volcano. I'm like, I don't know, man, but I'll come help you if you need help. And ever since then, I've been on a trek to figure out if she was trying to point me to lava rock or obsidian. And I'm pretty sure it was obsidian. But again, what is it made of? Black lava in its solidified form. So what is it really? Well, it's black goo. See, it is a demon. The demon is giving you the information that you want, much like our phones and our phone screens, which is why I'm again, very close to just being done with this stuff. I don't want to get any deeper entrenched in it than I am, and my devices are starting to become faulty. So I will do this as long as I can. If you want to reach me, most of you know my email. If you don't know it, I have a couple of them, and I'm going to get a Catholic email, but that's only going to be given out to certain people because I'm done with the stalking and the monitoring as far as I can deal with it. And if you'd like to help out so that I at least have a place to camp legally if something goes sideways here, I can post our PayPal link, but I don't do that for truth. All right, so obsidian mirrors have been used for scrying, for divination, and they've also been used to make rudimentary tools like sacrificial knives. Let's be clear too, in the Aztec and Mayan culture, in some of them, most of the sacrifices were willing, and it was considered a great honor to be such. Okay, my problem with a lot of it is the dissecting of the being. You saw it in Indiana Jones, if you ever saw it, where he reaches into his chest and he's going to pull out his heart and all this. There's a difference, right? And like, there's no need to butcher the temple of God, which is what the human body is. And I really am starting to question these days. Well, let me look this up. I'm going to punch this in, and while I'm doing this, on TikTok, I'm not on there. I don't have it, but I do see a lot of truth that's shared on there. However, I see a lot of misinformation as someone who has been experimenting on my body holistically for years now. I can confidently say there is a lot of misinformation on there that you shouldn't follow. And there's a lot of Gen Zers and Gen Yers that think they are the bee's knees, man. And I don't remember ever being that arrogant, but calling us stupid for doing things like drinking apple cider to cleanse and putting apple cider in our hair, or using virgin olive oil, a teaspoon of that to keep your skin clear, or putting it on your skin and in your hair when you are trying to, again, do a detox or a cleanse. They simply, they don't want to hear anything different than what they're throwing down. All the world's a stage, holistic for 20 years. It sure is. It sure is. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Okay, so we're going to look into locking mirrors, but anyone who has TikTok, there's a clip I saw, and there's a gentleman talking about how some people chose to come here, and I believe he might be red or brown haired. Now, again, some of this might be deception, right? I'm not going to get into that part of it right now, but there was some of what he said that really hit home with me about all of us having a hard life, and all of us being pretty much placed with a false family, and that's why we stick out, and that's why we're the black sheep, that we were very likely abducted at a young age. When I think of that, I think orphan trains, and when I think of orphan trains, I also think of immigration right now. Like, that's what we're told it is, right? But what does it actually look like when you're on the front lines of it? They've been using the same immigration videos for years now. All of the same stuff played out in 2016. I don't know if it was the test. I don't know. Like, from 2012 to 2016, all the same stuff was happening. So I don't know, is quantum immortality real? And I actually did die and didn't have an NDE, and I'm going through it all again? Or why does nobody else remember that happening? Like Dabu, like I watched his channel for a very long time when I first found YouTube, and he's obviously, quite obviously, paid off. But anyways, I'll continue because I know how people feel about their celebrity and their idols here. Remember, we're not supposed to idolize. Everyone is human, and that's the problem. When we idolize someone and put them on a pedestal, we are brokenhearted when they trip and fall or they err. Instead of helping them up, we stare at them as if they are some type of freak, which isn't right either. But anyways, when I used to watch his channel, he cycled through all this same new stuff about the Pope dying and then them retracting it, about the Queen dying and then them retracting it. Like all of this same stuff that has happened between 2019 and now happened between like 2012 to 2016. So again, I'm not sure if it's just election thing, if this is what they do to incite fear into people, to get people to vote. And I'm telling you, I'm more convinced than ever that we should not be participating at all. And again, I know this will lose me subs. I knew this will lose me views and votes, but I don't personally care about that. I'm in this because I love my fellow man and because I don't want to see you lose your free will like I did. I literally had to declare aloud, I'm taking my free will back. And I literally have to give it back to God every day to try and stay under his will, because a father knows best for their child. And not all fathers are bad fathers like Kronos, who eats their children. But again, that's another video. But I had to touch on some of this stuff because it is all intertwined, every bit of it. If you know the guy I'm talking about, he had a screenshot on his screen as he was talking, and it says, in my father's MK Ultra programming book, it said that since we cannot destroy the body of God's chosen, then we must destroy their minds. I'm really starting to think that death is an illusion for Christ followers, and that it is only something that they do, the ones who are not God's children. And that's why they came up with this false reincarnation deal. And that's why you find that black goo on all the sarcophagi. It is what animates them, I believe. And I know this is wild, and I know you're gonna be like, oh, this is so. If that animates them, and if that's actually a part of people or individuals who are demonized, or I don't know what you want to call it, you can call them spiritually sick. I don't know. Again, I'm not a doctor. None of this is medical advice. You know this. So keep that in the back of your mind as we look into what is locking mirrors. I heard the phrase on TikTok, but again, we've been talking about this for a long, long time. I told you a long time ago, if you have mirrors and you don't understand the repercussions of them, you should cover them. I very rarely, I will look into the mirror these days to get ready for work. That is it. I don't sit and fuss or do those things. I have played with a camera in front of the mirror. And again, that's with a very specific purpose. When you look into analog and mirrorless cameras, why are they making them mirrorless now? Why are we doing things without magnetic film? And why did it used to be called the silver screen? I think these entities were trapped, okay? I think they were kind of trapped in their realm, right? And it's the in-between. They're in between life and death because they can't go to the other side of the veil, and they can't get back here the way they were. So they're stuck in like this in between. Now, black goo, if you want to relate it to something, you relate it to the pink goo from Ghostbusters that was running under New York City, that would be happy when people were happy, or they played happy music, remember? But it would get angry and do mean, nasty things with the Statue of Liberty if it got negative vibrations. There's so much truth out there that we are closing our eyes to. And you'll forget most of this when you shut the video down and you go about your day or you go off to work, because then it's all about your car and how many sets you do at the gym and how many bills you can pay that day and how much money you make. I mean, I'm seeing grown men on these stages now vilifying other men and talking about how they're nothing because they don't have success with finances. If that's the life you want, and if that's the success you're after, my channel and a lot of the other compilation channels that I share are like, these types of channels are not for you. They're just not. Go watch influencers, go watch motivational speakers, go watch Joel Osteen. Because false positivity is just as toxic as consistent pessimism is. I'll say that again. False positivity, being happy or covering something up when there's no good reason to be happy and there's wickedness going on is just as bad as living in a place of constant pessimism, constant negativity. And they know this. They know that they bring us down. And this is, I think, why they would put us in families that maybe aren't entirely our own. I was always called the black sheep by my mother. I was always called the weird artist's daughter by my mother. There's that word again, weird, right? This is all very personal to some of us. If you are like me and a lot of this is hitting your personal testimony, like it's just firing the synapses and you keep getting these synchronistic moments and you get the chills. I'm getting them right now just talking about it. Then you're like me. Then we are the same. We're going through the same walk because they've done the same, they've ran the same play on all of us, like football, right? That's all they know to do is to keep doing the same things over and over and over again, which is the definition of what? Insanity. Just like voting. Voting at all is the definition of insanity. People are doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And still we have wars, and still we have fights over oil, and still we have the earth being destroyed, and it's going to lash out at us. That's just how it is. We are going against the nature of the earth with things like fracking. Yes, natural resources are here for us to use, but not indiscriminately. Not without thinking of the one who comes behind you who might need them. And I don't care if I sound like a tree hugger. I don't care if I'm a hippie. That's what I live with here. People who insult their own customers. Oh, they're dirty hippies. I'm not going out there. They're paying your salary right now. Why would you say that about them? People's hearts have gone cold, man. So locking mirrors, mirrors as portals, mirrors especially that have obsidian backings, but any mirror will do, okay, because it is a refracted image. It makes for different refractions of light, and different beings live in these different angles. A refraction is an angle. If you look at a diamond, right, a cut diamond, it has all these different angles and edges on it. Imagine that we are inside of that diamond. The diamond is the dome, and the angle of light is your chosen or your specific perspective from where you're standing. You have all these other perspectives as well. Everybody might be seeing things a little differently. God might be teaching them a little differently. But the ones around us who are, I believe, here to refine us at this point, they are sent by God too, even though they're gross and cocky. God is allowing this for some reason. It is so we get strong, man. Don't allow yourself to be overtaken by all this. My channel is to encourage and edify the church. What is the church, though? What does that mean? It's not an institution. Your body is the temple. Okay? The church is the body of temples. It is us. Okay? So again, everyone is welcome here. Thanks for being here. Locking mirrors. What does that mean? Well, let's check it out. Now, we're not going to actually go to TikTok and do I don't watch other people's videos. My channel is not a reaction channel. Again, these are things we started talking about. We started the butterfly effect. I'm very happy to say that we were a part of it. Nobody ever right? We got the momentum. We helped the momentum along, but there's nothing new under the sun. Now, let's see what this means. I want to go to something original, though. I want to see how this began. Oops. Origins, yeah. What is the old wives' tale about mirrors. Well, we know breaking mirrors brings allegedly 7 years of bad luck. And in ancient Greece and the Roman Empire, reflected images were thought to have mysterious powers. What is the Chinese myth about mirrors? Because again, we're looking for the common denominators here. We're not going to look at that because that's not our nation or that's not our culture. We're going to look at that because it's not our culture. And we want to know, this is, it's very possible that this is why people were building pyramids all over. Maybe not because, wow, I just had an insight on that and I'm going to have to write that down because I don't want to forget it. And I don't want to say what I was about to say now because it wouldn't, yeah. Okay, that's the Holy Spirit intervening there. I'm not going to say that because I might be wrong about that and I don't want to mislead you. Let's continue. The Chinese said images in the mirror were actually demonic beings who were pretending to be our reflections while silently plotting our deaths. Ooh, brings a little new flavor to doppelganger, doesn't it? Isn't it funny how people don't quite look like themselves either anymore? That they're not quite the same? That was part of my conditioning. That was part of my, I call them abuse sessions, but now that I know the definitions, it was pretty much satanic abuse, which is what, if you're in an abusive relationship, that's what it is. All abuse is satanic, okay? It's sadistic. It's somebody enjoying and getting off on harming you. Bottom line, that's why they do it. Is because they want to harm you. Is for that control. And again, is probably because a lot of us are in environments and families that are not ours. We were put in specific places where we weren't like other people, just so we would feel like outcasts, just so we would feel so trampled on and so wore down that we would say, I am nothing, I am no one, I have no power. Now, when it comes to God, absolutely, I am nothing. I am no one without the power of God, right? But down here, man, I'm a queen. I have the power to tread on serpents, man. I'm a queen. You can't tell me no different. I see why people are speaking the way they are these days, too. This is spiritual warfare. We are in a war right now that's not being talked about. It is a war of words and information, and you better start rebuking people because you are getting tied up in this web of words and spellcraft that they are putting around you. And when you don't rebuke it, and when you accept and receive it, and you don't expose it for what it is, you may, I don't want to, I try not to use definitives anymore, you may be caught up in whatever it is they're trying to do to you. I know because it almost happened to me. And I'm seeing so many women go through the same stuff. The shaving of the underneath of the hair and like the suppressing of the feminine and this aggressive behavior coming to the forefront. Man, we're going to be in for it. If all these people go through stuff like myself and a few of us early ones, there's a few of us that went through this really early in the game. And the one gal, I lost her channel. If I can find her again, I'll start sharing her. But her testimony was so much like mine. A young woman of color who lived in Florida, beautiful spirit inside of her. We've just went through so many similar things, and it is a template they use, much like football games, because they're not creative, because they have gone insane. They've went rogue against the natural order of things, against nature. As much as mankind wants to, or this other element wants to, we cannot fight the power of nature, because that is the power of God. No matter how much we want to, we cannot make a river go upstream. And if we can, doesn't mean we should, because it's probably going to leave us with very detrimental consequences. So, that gives new meaning to doppelgangers right there. The mirror people were afflicted with a spell that bound them to the mirror world, where they are now cursed to mimic every move of their human counterparts. That's terrible. What is the mythology behind mirrors? Now, we've looked at a lot of this, but the Jewish mirrors are covered, they say, out of respect for the dead during the Jewish mourning ritual. According to superstition, a mirror can trap a dying soul. And again, I think this is what they were trying to do to me. I was supposed to be ended. Maybe I am ended. Maybe I'm in the mirror world now and I just don't even realize it. Maybe that's what's happening. But because it's still continuing and because it's still going on, obviously there is hope. No matter where I am at, no matter where you are at, we are still breathing, right? There is still hope. Magic Mirror is a story about a king choosing a worthy queen for himself through the help of a barbarous magic mirror. Okay. Objects of despair, mirrors. Okay, so we're going to look at a few of these and see which one we want to pull up. Mirrors, superstition, mythology, psychology, insanity. Modified the Greek version of a created a type used today, a small enclosed area. Near-death researcher. Huh. Let's look at that real quick. Because most of us that I've talked to, anyways, have had an NDE between 2017 and now. So let's look at this. Mirror, superstition, mythology, psychology, insanity. August 23rd, 2022, into horror history. Funny how they give you stuff from that date, like years ago or whatever. Speaking of which, the earthquakes are getting a little out of hand, aren't they? I hope that my dream is still just a warning. I hope that so many of our dreams and visions, again, I'm not the only one, so please go find another small channel. There are so many of us talking about it. If you don't believe me, I mean, I'm not like kicking you out or anything. Sammy's snoring. Sorry, I had something in my eye. There's so much going on right now. Let me see. The small but terrifying list you may around your home includes your own bed because it creates an under the bed. Oh. Okay, so now they're talking about that. That's good. Did you know fear of mirrors has 3 different terms in English? Ah, that one starts with cat. How do you know? Catoptrophobia, meaning mirrors. Catoptron. Catropto. I find it very interesting that it starts with the word cat. I really do. Isn't cat mean feline? It's interesting. Or cat, like catch, to catch. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a giant by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Spectrophobia, meaning ghost. Istrophobia, Greek ice, meaning into. Optikos, meaning vision or optical. Phobia also means fear. Trigger warning if you have a fear of mirrors. Still with me? Let's cover some basics. I want to know what came first, though. I had to take down the mirrors in my house, only left up in the bathroom. Right, right. Like, I don't doubt it, man. I really don't. I have a couple that are plastic now that the one, again, I'm a woman. I like to make sure nothing's hanging out where it's not supposed to be hanging out. But I no longer, like, I don't stop in front of mirrors, right? Like, maybe girls used to, like, to check their image or check how they look or whatever. I just really don't. I know the dangers, you know what I mean? And I've gone around and I've blessed the windows and I've blessed the mirrors, and I do that, like, probably once a month, once every couple of weeks. I have blessed oil, so I do crosses on the windows and on the mirror, anything with like a reflective surface. I had one at my front door, and Holy Spirit insisted I remove it. That's interesting you said that, because when I was looking for this, when I found this information, I had to go to the other phone. So I have other links on this other phone. Let me pull that up real quick. Hold on. I want to see if I put up this link, the same link that I have here. Just so. But I saw something that somebody was giving advice. Remember how I said TikTok has a lot of great truths that people are sharing on it, but there's also a lot of misinformation. Someone said that she was told to put a mirror on her front door to catch things that might be trying to gain access. Watching Vanity perish off my... Wait. And I've watched Vanity perish off my youngest child. That's awesome. Any black screen is a mirror. It's often worse than the mirror in the homes. You're right, I agree. I got the impression it trapped my blessings. Oh, by having one at your front door? I don't know. They said it scared away evil. Let's continue. Let's see if, Okay, so these things, again, these people that cover this stuff that's modern, I really... Hang mirrors to ward off evil spirits. Okay, several cultures around the world believe that hanging mirrors around the house will help ward off evil, such as the Chinese Bagua mirror. More on the Chinese mythological take on mirrors later. See, I don't know if I agree. I don't know. Superstition. Don't hang a mirror in your bedroom. Supposedly a mirror in the bedroom can bounce around negative energies. It's a bit more nuanced than that, though, as this belief seems to originate in Feng Shui, which actually states that a mirror reflects your image while sleeping. That reflected energy will double in strength based on what type of... I fasted from phones to devices for almost a year. It was hard, but amazing. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing the same thing, and I know, like, the enemy wants me to do that. Like, I know that's what he wants me to do, right? So I'm just really aiming for now at least less screen time. I still play things while I'm walking around. I like information. I don't know what to say about that. Like, what do you do with your time? I don't know. I have to figure out how it's going to work because I still want to do uploads like my testimony about makeup and about mirrors, personally. So I don't know how I would like to do that. And I don't even know if now, like, do I want to be in front of a camera at all? I don't know how I feel about any of this anymore, to be honest with you. But the sad thing is I don't meet people like this in my everyday life. And maybe that's the draw. Maybe they know that we can't connect any other way. Dude, I think we need to have the Exodus. Like, I think that's what people need to do, but nobody wants to do it. And the mirror was just inside my front door, not the outside, and my marriage stopped being attacked when I took down the full-length mirror out of our bedroom. Yeah, I took my dad's mirror off of my dresser years ago. You know what I mean? I took that one off of my dresser a long time ago. And that's the thing. We don't do anything with our time now because we don't have to grow our own food. We don't have to harvest it. We don't have to prepare it. Like, most of the sin started with eating or consuming. And now we don't just eat with our mouths. We eat with our eyes and ears too. We consume, right? Hobbies like self-defense, gardening. Right. And I didn't mean to sound like so obtuse that I haven't done those things. Like, I've learned how, like, if you've been on this channel, it's been a journey for me the last couple of years. This year is the first year that I've not tried to grow anything. And that's because our dog died in October and we got a new little girl, and I had to make adjustments and get used to daily life with a pit bull and a Chiweenie, which is not easy. That is where most of my time dwells. And I have a Yorkie who is pretty much actively in renal failure. So if you know anything about renal failure, you know what the mess that is. TV is a mirror. It's in every bedroom. Yeah, it's not in every bedroom, so let's not assume. I danced with a tambourine on the driveway. So far I've dropped. And praise the Lord a lot. You danced with a tambourine on your driveway. I'm not that brave. It's awesome that you did that, but I'm not that brave. I praise God all the time outside when it rains. I'll be like, yay. But I say it at work. Are you? She really is. Oh gosh, I'm going to be mad at her. Get out of my room. Get out. What are you doing? I take you out all the time. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I don't. My husband bought me a TV. I didn't want one. Again, this is not the same husband that I'm familiar with. And I have it. I turned my dad's armoire into a... I did a video on it. It's like somewhere back on like my vlogs. It's like 2-3 months ago. I turned my dad's armoire into like a entertainment center, basically. It has all my chargers and cameras and my Walkman and my tapes, my cassette tapes, because that's what I did. I bought a Walkman. I'm like preparing for my fast, right? I have a Walkman, I have a bunch of batteries, and I'm getting a bunch of tapes. My neighbors think I'm crazy all the way. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, my TV that I do have is in an armoire that closes. My TV is not plugged in. I do not keep it plugged in. And I have a cloth draped over it. So yeah, I mean, you're talking to somebody who's already pretty well versed in all of this. I do this. Once I've learned a lesson, I bring it to you all because that's what I was asked to do, and because that's the best. I think that's the best way I can give back or help in our current situation. People don't realize how desperate a situation we're in right now. You should really hope. You should hope that you run out of money for food. Don't buy that stuff. Number one, it's not food, okay? Number two, the human body. This is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. This is personal testimony. The human body can go 40 days without food. 40 days without food. We've been lied to, man. You don't got to eat 3 times a day. They got us in every sin they can imagine. It's not just the phones, and it's not just the devices. It's gluttony of everything. Gluttony of food, the lust for... What's the other thing I was going to say? Food, the lust for each other, lust for alcohol, lust for drugs, right? There's so much more to all of this. Devices, yeah, they're a big part of it. But we're supposed to be having our own modern day exodus, and we're supposed to be gathering. And I should have probably already left by now, but I don't feel like I got the call to do that, so I did not. All right, let's continue. I got off on a little tirade. Okay, supposedly a mirror bounces around negative energies. Okay, so any liminal space, meaning a space between or a location that serves as a transition between two areas, mirrors are said to create liminal spaces. These spaces supposedly serve as entryways for spirits or demons to enter the physical plane. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the origin for this one. See your future husband in a mirror. Newlyweds smash a mirror for good luck. Vampires have no reflection. Yeah, we know where that comes from. Some say that a broken mirror will attract dead or evil in general. That's gross. Bloody Mary. Okay, so this one's too superstitious for us. I want to know like the actual, what the Greeks and what the Egyptians did with all of this. And I'm going to do something that I rarely do while I'm doing a live video. And that is to have a little bit of a cigarette. Yes, I still smoke. Please leave any berating comments in the comment section. Feel free. How to lock mirrors. Magic mirrors. Snow White. The queen is then locked in her room to prevent her from leaving. No. Elizabethan mirror. The Daily Beast. Of course that is. Let's check it out. The Aztec origins of a mysterious Elizabethan mirror. Now, again, this also is very pertinent to me. My dad didn't leave me much when he passed, which I'm totally fine with. I said it like that because it just amazes me how people behave when somebody passes. But he left me a Mayan chessboard. I just put out a cig. I get it. Fasting makes the parasite. If you want to know why people are having this demon syndrome, fast. It's made up gobbledygook. And I understand nobody wanting to thumbs up the video because why would you? Like that's how they, target people, I guess, is the channels you visit. Okay, so this is John D. Now this is the guy, this is the mirror guy, okay? John D was an advisor to the Queen. He wrote the book Enochian Magic, and allegedly conversed and conspired with angels, but then they turned fallen because they asked John D and his counterpart, I forget his name, to wife swap, and they did. Whenever you want to see the signature of the fallen angels, just look for polygamy or adultery. That is their signature, man. Or any type of woman berating and abuse that they can get away with. That's what they do. Are they all like that? I don't know. In my experience, most of them, yes. All of them, I don't know. Again, we're talking what I consider to be either people who have the fallen as attachments or they have consented to be the temple of the fallen. It's laggy, your voice. Yeah, sorry about that. It probably won't be. This is a 4G phone. That's kind of how I have it right now. Let me move where I'm sitting. Let me try to move. So anyway, John Dee, if you didn't hear, he was an advisor to the Queen. She wanted to know things about astrology, how to govern, what was coming in the future. He wrote the book Enochian Magic. He conversed with alleged angels. However, he was then advised that him and his partner should wife swap. And again, anytime you want to know where the fallen angels have been, look for polygamy or wife swapping. It is my belief that they began the Mormon church. That's why there's so much truth in that church, is because they knew it. I think they were involved in that. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because Joseph Smith had truth or what, but that's why polygamy entered the picture, is because these guys converse with angels, and because they traded. They said, well, this magic mirror ain't doing much, but we can get you better scientific technology. Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. Thank you. I appreciate the help, guys. I am on an old device. Again, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do yet because of this. I would love a laptop. I really would. I'm a laptop girl. I always had one. Always loved it. It's how I got my degrees, was online, and anyone that berates online college has never had to be their own motivator. It is very difficult, but I did it, and I would like to get my bachelor's. I would like to do a lot of things, but America seems pretty unstable right now to be going into more debt. That's the last thing I want to do. So pretty much anything you want to know, you can get on the internet anyways. And that's why universities are dying, and they know it, because you can find anything online. I have to keep relighting that because they're fire safe. Sorry. Okay, so I basically told you who he was. So let's get in. When Elizabeth, first scientific advisor and philosopher John Dee died in 1609, he left behind unusual artifacts. Among them was his speculum, a hand mirror made of polished obsidian, volcanic glass. Wow, there it is. And I didn't even look for it. There it is. See, that's the synchronicity I'm talking about, okay? Not quite demonic and false synchronicity that takes you away from God, but the stuff that tells you this is what you need to be aware of because these are the times that you are in, type thing. All right, so let's keep going. It was also known as the Devil's Looking Glass. Jeez almighty. So I got a question. And this is going to sound really bizarre, but it goes with the topic. This is really fringe. This is woo-woo out there, but just go with me for a minute. There have been a couple of channels that I feel like when I'm watching them, they're watching me, because they stop talking if I get distracted or I leave my phone, and then they might continue, or I'll do something just to see if they see, and then they laugh. So is this just, and again, like I know they say schizophrenic people think their TV talks to them. Dude, read about Ed Kaczynski and why he did what he did. He is known as the Unabomber. He knew that they were messing with people. And I mean, if you could do it, wouldn't you? Like a child, wouldn't it be funny at first to mess with somebody's life? To say, oh, they think this is, like, it's a childish thing, right? We've all played tricks and pranks when we were younger. So now all you got to do is turn that into an adult, and you've got all these man children running around with their devices. I see you, huh? So do they see us when we see them? Are some of them literal demons? If we go to a YouTube convention, will we actually meet these real individuals? Because in all honesty, I don't see Trump ever giving Logan Paul an interview. Ever. I don't ever see him doing that. Why he did it, I don't think it is what we think it is. I think the black mirrors are his looking glass, not regular mirrors. Tape your cameras. Yeah, I've known about that for quite some time. That part of things. But I'm talking about actual like videos like on YouTube as you're watching them happen. Mm. Hmm. Oh, see, it doesn't let me. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so now it's telling us where it was. Scientific study has tracked its origin to 16th century Mexico and the religious rituals of the Aztec. The mirror in question is part of a cluster of obsidian artifacts in the British Museum. Half an inch thick, visually it resembles drawings of black mirrors that appear in the pages of Codex Tepetlaostoc, a 16th century Aztec book made by residents of Tepetlaostoc in central Mexico. The book depicts images of the tribute that indigenous peoples in Mesoamerica were forced to pay They were used for scrying or examining the future, divination. There's what they look like. They're obsidian artifacts. And there you've got the how do you say it? Tetragrammaton that allegedly spells out God's name. And they're all types of compasses. And when you see angels in a Dyson sphere, it looks a lot like a cell when they show us what a cell looks like with all these interlocking little cages. I was just looking into DNA yesterday too. I've got so much to cover with you guys, and I just don't know what is the most important for this time. There's so much. It's almost too late to tell people, hey, don't fall for this or don't fall for that, because if you're going to, you're going to at this point. I don't even know. It's all up to God. So, Pachamama, which is ironic considering that the Pope with the Vatican, he did some mass and some blessing with Pachamama, the Pachuaca goddess, okay, in the Vatican a few years ago. Now, I might say that the Catholic Church was first. I might say that I feel more comfortable with those rituals, and I believe that the sacraments are holy, that that's the way I do believe we're supposed to confess. It unburdens your soul. See, these things, these demons, they follow you around, and certain individuals, the wolves in sheep's clothing that are teaching, they are literal in league with fallen angels. These people have agreed to be in league with these things. They have agreed to house them in their temples. They have agreed to this symbiotic relationship. How do I know this? Because I actually know people in my daily life who have done this. Have they told me they've done this? No, they didn't need to tell me. I saw it happen. And I'm telling you, people are agreeing to do this. Now, whether they're intentionally agreeing or unintentionally agreeing, I don't know, because I was raised from the cradle. I was baptized. From the cradle, I was pretty much in CCD. So I was always taught of, and I always talked to God. Like, I just always knew God was there. So is predestination a thing? I don't know. There's so much I don't know. But I do try to share the bits that I do know with you, so you can say, all right, no, there's something else going on here. So they've agreed to these symbiotic relationships with these things, all right? As a tool for metaphorical self-reflection. Yeah. Santa, like the apprentice's notebook in which the diviner learns, which is inscribed in the mirror. The mirror is much like a camera and functions similar to the sight and minds of human beings, with images recorded in the memory of the object. Though not all mirrors work the same way. Some are portals, some are introspective devices, others are predictors of the future. Some are combined with hydromancy, water divination. When I was a child and my mom had introduced me to the occult, I actually tried that. Praise God, it didn't work. Nothing happened. It didn't work for me. You know what works for me? Not doing that stuff. God gives me dreams. God talks to me. God answers my prayers when I just talk to him. I don't really have to do any of that stuff. Now, is the Bible against it or is it for it? I have mixed feelings on this. I believe, as of right now, with the information that I do have and what resonates as truth with my inner Bell truth detector. I think that if you're born, if you're given a gift, right? If you get dreams that happen, or if you can see certain things that other people can't see. Number one, I don't believe we're supposed to ask for money for these things, right? It is a gift. It's something that happens. However, if people want to give to you, like they did to the apostles, a meal, a place to stay, things that aren't money, right? Things that are of value, a barter type deal. I think that is possible, right? But if you're specifically going to demons and you're specifically asking fallen angels, demons, evil spirits, I don't think no, we're not supposed to be doing that. But please remember that the apostles cast lots to see who would replace Judas. Lots were also cast to find out who among them was the reason for Jonah's ship being flooded. And gemstones were used on the vest of Aaron and Moses. This is vital information. They are teaching us that these things are wicked and evil because they don't want us being at our optimum Holy Spirit power. And what do I mean by that? I mean by these frequencies. There are certain gemstones that will protect you from the frequencies that the EMFs are putting out right now. That dude, it was bad when we had microwaves. Now that we have cell phones everywhere, it is so much worse. And it's not so much about dis-ease, right? It's about the disease that it causes your spirit. It's about the degradation, literal decaying of the spirit that happens. But your body is a temple too. Okay, so similar kinds of catoptromancy, mere divination, took place among ancient Greeks. The travel rite, Pausanias, all these cat words. You got cat, and then you got this one that starts with paw. Describes a ritual at a Greek temple in Arcadia in which supplicants would look into a sacred mirror and see himself very dimly or not at all, but the actual images of the gods. The Romans also had religious experts who worked as scryers called speculari, from the Latin word for mirror. Speculari. Gazing into reflective surfaces was a widely practiced form of divining that involved religious specialists and training. Religious specialists. In Europe, the association of polished surfaces with demonology became explicit in the medieval period. Now, here's where you get into the witch burning, and here's where you get into the counterfeit and the legitimate, right? Because I don't think it's witches they burned. From the blade of a dagger to a polished fingernail might inadvertently become a vessel for communicating with the devil. It is implicit in contemporary practices of crystal ball gazing and forms the basis for the 2013 supernatural horror movie Oculus. Given the history of mirror gazing, one would expect that John Dee, who served as the Queen's philosopher during one of the most religiously contentious periods of history, was a secret occultist. This would only be partly correct, however, as there was nothing secret about it. While Dee was in many ways an occultist, his mirror is categorized as an occult artifact. He was also a scientist, a philosopher, and, most surprising, a devoted Christian. Who better for the fallen to corrupt? Much like in heaven, when the angels sing for every repentant soul, what do you think happens every time they get one of God's children? Or every time they make one of us fall? The reason for this is that he was, as the quip goes, a true Renaissance man who wrote on everything from astrology and alchemy in a period in which the line between magic and religion was constantly moving and was as much about power as it was anything else. He straddled the divide. And let us remember, the KJV, I have a very big problem with that. It says King James. All due respect to him as a king of his land, the king of the earth is Jesus. He will judge the earth. Satan reigns because man is supposed to be the placeholder for Jesus. Man gave the reins to Satan willingly and unwillingly. We've got to take them back, and it's really not that hard. Moreover, his interest in mirror divination must be understood against the backdrop of Renaissance mirror technology in general. In the 16th century, as Sabine, these names, Melchior Bonnet, I don't know if that's one word or a hyphen, writes in her beautiful history of the mirror, technologies of mirror making were still evolving. Mirrors were as likely to distort one's image as to reflect it. And that's true. If you see any of the old mirrors, sometimes the reflective surface will be like worn off or brushed off or degraded, and you'll see the obsidian underneath, and they're really heavy like stone. That's why, because obsidian, for all intents and purposes, is a stone. 15th century visitors to the French chateau of Hesdin were apparently fascinated by the mirror that adorned the entrance to the gallery. The Duke of Burgundy's financial manager reported that one sees someone else there rather more than oneself. All mirrors, in other words, encouraged introspection and invited commentary about the source of the images. The goal of reflection, notes Harvard University. Oh, these ads are killing me. I'm sorry, guys. Harvard University curator Sarah Schechner was not mimetic but transformative. Mirror gazing was supposed to take you beyond the superficial. While he was once accused of treason for casting the horoscopes of Queen Elizabeth and Queen Mary, more recent evaluations of Dee see him as a serious book scholar, manuscript curator, and scientist. Gee, I wonder why. See, all this stuff that everything is becoming uncovered now, but we have to figure out like what is okay and what is not okay for us to do. Was it just not okay then because it wasn't time for humanity to learn any of that? Or is mankind never supposed to learn any of that? Again, I think it's balance because Christ seemed to know things and we're supposed to be able to do and know those same things. But we have gatekeepers now. Gatekeepers, indeed. In addition to his role, blah, 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 I don't really care about him per se in this. Okay, now you're ticking me off with the ads. Okay, so let's get out of here and look at what it means to lock a mirror. If it'll ever let me out. Okay, we're going to go out anyway. Everything is really laggy. I apologize. I'm trying to deal with it the best that I can. It is not fun. Is everything just froze? Am I froze? That's lovely. That's fun. Am I wasting my time? What is happening? Oh, I can't stand it. Can I just... Why are you so slow? What is happening with you? Do I need to plug you in? I don't know what to do. Sorry, guys. There we go. Can you bring me back to something? Maybe? Oh, come on. This is ridiculous. We're going to close Chrome because it's being a son of a gun right now. And we'll look here. And then we'll do this. And we'll get to locking mirrors. And I might do the reading later and upload it. I don't know. I'm thinking about it right now. Let me think. Let's see. I want to go to something that's not per se mirror symbolism. Get inspired. I don't know that I want to go to symbol or Pinterest for that. Sorry. Mirror locking oil is used to lock those old mirrors. You know, the ones that may look back when you look into them. Ugh, I don't like that. There's got to be something that comes from cats and casses. I just want to see if there's anything older, because if this is newer, it might not be good information. Again, everything's kind of inverted right now. How to lock a mirror to prevent evil energy. That's 2022. Let's check it out. Now it's moving. Sorry about that, guys. I was closer to the router there. Maybe I should work with this device in front of the router. Okay, so some people in the magical or spiritual community believe that all mirrors are haunted. They are portals, and if not carefully guarded and watched over, they are subjected to becoming a window into our world, to whatever spirit, good or evil, manages to take charge of the space. It is for this reason that several spiritual traditions, particularly those arising in Mesoamerica, recommend locking your mirrors to protect yourself from bad energies. And this is how you do it. Watch video here. I don't want to watch the video. First, you set the mirror down flat on the floor. I don't like that already. You step on it, or are you going to fall through to somewhere? I'm kidding, but we never know today, right? First, you set the mirror down on the floor, use some Castile soap, and wash all the way around the mirror. Then put a bit of olive oil on a cloth, crush a sprig of rosemary. Hey, that's the stuff I put in my hair. And the same cloth, and run it all over the perimeter of the mirror. Next, do the same thing with Florida water. This is not water from Florida, but rather a type of cologne very popular in the spiritual community. I just ordered some Ormus with Florida that has Florida water. And if you're interested in any holistics regarding mushroom and herbal tinctures and Ormus and my experience with them, again, I'm not a doctor. No part of my videos is ever medical advice. It's just my own testimony. If you want to hear about that and how I personally decreased Western medication, I'm down from 9. I can do a video on that. I'll do a live testimonial. And you can ask questions. If I decide to keep the phone, I don't know after this. Okay, so then this 3 times. This mirror is locked from energies and entities. Spit on it? Put your DNA on it? Do we want to do? I don't know, man. I don't know, though. Christ used spit to make the blind man see. Okay, so the TLDR of this particular ritual is quoted by the as follows. Castile soap to cleanse the entire mirror, olive oil and rosemary to seal and protect, Florida water to finish it all off, sealed and protected. Now, there are some people that say you need a sigil, and I've thought of making my own sigil and replacement for my name. It has everything to do with spell binding right now, and I think, there are certain things and precautions that we should be taking, things we should be doing. Can you stop with the ads? Some say that only mirrors with a silver backing need to undergo this process to keep them safe, which these days only applies to real antique or very high-end mirrors. Pick up from IKEA is probably fine, but then again, you never know, do you? Yeah, honestly, I don't see them doing something to help us out. The obsidian they don't want us to have because it might show us something that's going to happen. Again, I don't see anything that is done today being helpful to us purposely. So if there's anything else on this that comes. Okay, so I thought Tumblr was a dating website. Am I wrong? I'm so not versed in these things right now because, again, I've isolated myself from stuff like this purposely. Sorry, had to have a little water there. I'm doing everything different now. I got a water bottle that has a filter in it. It was only about $30 to start it off, which is cool. And I got a filter for the shower, and my hair is already better after one shower. So I think those are important. If you can do things like that, you should do them. I use my water bottle filter. I can drink lake water with it, but I use it every day for tap water because that's just how it is now. And it's charcoal. It's a charcoal filter. Again, there's a lot of misinformation out there right now, but there is some good information. So, okay, so I recently got a mirror and wanted to put it in on my altar. Before doing that, I wanted to ensure it was locked and spiritually ready. I once knew a girl who practiced Wiccan, and she gave me a set of runes that her husband made, and she gave me a little mirror, and I wonder now. And she also gave me an ethame. All of the stuff I got rid of almost as well. I kept the one thing just like because I don't want to just throw it away. But most of it, I got rid of it almost as soon as she gave it to me, and I wasn't even a revert at that point in time. I just wasn't comfortable with all that. Although runes, again, I have my own personal opinion about those at this point. Let's type in spiritual warfare. Or do you want to, let's look at this. It's the word portal a lot. Let's look at that. You can try using a mirror warding and portal closing spray, which is available on Amazon. Okay. I want to look at something that's not freaking cute aura. But how do you close a portal? Cross ley lines. Okay. Here's what I do. Now, again, this is from a medium, all right? But this is actually information we want to know. Are these things detrimental to our spiritual well-being? Should we have them in our home? Should we have them in our bathroom? Should we have them on our car? Should we be looking into them all day long into our devices? Here's what to do. So this is from somebody named Sue Creolard. Don't know who that is. I just want to check out what this says. Now, in metaphysics, which is not a sworn off taboo, according to Catholicism or Christianity, metaphysics is a part of science that we're supposedly able to study, but has magic just been renamed science now? What part of it are we supposed to listen to? But again, this is what they wanted. The CIA, and even a speech from Obama that I saw the other day. I find it funny that I share these videos from other channels and they get taken down and it said this video is private. So either you're purposely putting people in my scroll, you're subbing me to these small channels, and I share some of them on purpose because I want to know who's legit and who's not. Some of the people straight up have stopped their channels just because I shared a video. What? What? So either a whole lot of people are seeing my channel that I'm unaware of, or I am limited to my local area and I'm not getting out to anyone. And they are putting stuff in my feed that they want me to see. But they don't want anybody else to know that I saw, or they don't want anybody else to see. Dude, they literally, at this point, it's anything you can do. They want you to curse God's people. They want you to curse God. They want you to say that you are. All of these things are the final steps to allowing you to be overcome at this time and be sealed with the wrong one by the wrong one. All these people walking around saying I am GD shouldn't be happening. Like, that shouldn't be happening. God said we were little gods. Christ told us we were, don't ye know ye are gods? Yeah, here we are sovereign, terra firma on the earth, because it's ours. It is our inheritance that God gave to mankind. He didn't give it to them. He told them you're cursed now. You don't need your bodies. Walk around without them. This is why they're trying the clones and the robot thing and all this stuff. And none of it works long term. Unless they get us to agree to be their temples, which I do not do. And if you listen to my channel long enough, and I'm not saying like brainwashing type, like, oh, it'll start to make sense. I mean, you'll start to put the pieces together yourself and you'll be able to see it in your daily life. It won't just be on a screen anymore. And that's when you can say, okay, this is really happening. Because on the screen, if it's happening, if they're saying a war is happening here or there, what are we told in scripture? Rumors of wars. The real war is this, us, spiritual. It has to do with them overtaking us. It is the only war that matters. They want our bodies, they want our souls, and they want our inheritance, which is the realm of Eden, which is earth, sort of. Again, Eden is on earth, right? So I don't really want to know about her. I don't want to do a bio on her right now. Now, if we get information and we say, okay, this could be helpful, then you want to look at like the author and their credentials and what kind of agenda they might have. But for this purposes, we're just trying to see what is similar across all of the cultures. And basically right now what I'm getting is to either remove them or to put something over top of them. The mirror facing an open window created an invitation for energies to enter. Oh gosh, I got a mirror across from my window right now. That's weird. But does it have to be an open window because you still have the glass, right? Create an account to read the full story. Oh, you see, this is why the internet, everything is monetized. You can't even dude, I expect people to live when you're monetizing everything. How are we supposed to get this money? Oh, you can get cryptocurrency and earn it just by logging how many steps you take a day. They're turning us into a simulation. They want to turn us into a video game. Dude, I'm not being a video game to entertain some Neffy brats. Like, I'm just not doing it. I'm just not doing it. Mirrors, the ghostly portals to the other side. I want to know how to lock them. Let's check this. I like it when they use good art. It's not an app. It's not TikTok. The date is 2017, which is pretty much perfect for our purposes. Mirrors have, and now this is classic artwork. There's a lot of classic artwork that includes mirrors. I told someone that I felt like I was talking to a live infomercial due to their parroting the advertisements. Weird. I've had that same thing happen, man. like the Truman Show. And I said that to somebody the other day. You know what? These people are such bad actors. As much as I love them and enjoy them and have a good time with them, they're bad actors. They're just bad actors. They're bad at what they're doing. They know things about me they shouldn't know. They know my backstory, which I've never told them myself. None of them that I work with, so none of them should know it. They knew my affinity for that movie, which they should not have known because I never talked about it. I said out loud, it's like the Truman Show. But she knows. Exactly. Yeah, that's how I feel in my life. It's like the Truman Show, but I know what's going on. I don't know how to stop it is the problem. Um, so yeah, it's very strange. If you become a connoisseur of like observing body language of human beings and don't watch a channel to teach you. I did that years ago. And again, these people are very misleading. They want you to think that people are criminals who aren't criminals. They want you to think that the evil people are the good guys. Like everybody is playing swap right now. Everybody has switched positions because they know what's coming and they think that they can fool, and they can fool mankind, but they can't fool they can't fool the judge of the earth, which is Jesus. Yeshua, Yahushua. Okay? I, Jesus. You cannot fool the Christos, the Messiah, the Mashiach. You can't. And if you have the Ruach within you, you can't be fooled. There's two types, good actors and bad actors. I pray for them all. I pray for them all too. But now I have to admit to being slightly entertained. It is funny, like seeing them notice how unbothered I am and seeing how bothered they are by me being unbothered. It's actually, I don't know. I'm having fun with it. What can I say? And yes, I do pray for them all. There's a couple I still have a hard time praying for, but I do anyways. Mirrors have long been held as portals. Now look at her, how she's holding the mirror as she's looking into a painting. What kind of clue is that? Many cultures believe that mirrors or reflections in the water would show us our souls. This made mirrors dangerous in a realm where dark spells could be performed on mirrors that held the image of the intended victim. I'm trying to keep up with what you're saying. I have to cover my mouth to hide my laughter sometimes when they manifest like children. Yes! I can't believe you just said that. Yes! Like little kids. And you can actually see their eyes start to get dark and the tops of their cheeks and their whatever that is, their nose and eyes start to get a little weird. I'm telling you, man. And it's not, people want to say, oh, it's the masks and it's COVID, and people don't know. Like, yeah, for the young ones, some of the young ones, that might be the case. But to physically, like, for your eyeballs to get darker and for like their faces to, no, this isn't any kind, we're not in Kansas no more, man. We're just not. And I don't let it bother me anymore because I know that we're being refined and we're here to be refined. And it really seems like we don't all get out, or one of us doesn't get out with, you know, Ohana means family, and family means no one left behind. And I'm starting to wonder if any of us get to move on until we all get to move on. So I'm just doing my best to enjoy it and to learn what I can and to teach what I can. I had a 65-year-old man on my driveway screaming at me. I asked if he was throwing a temper tantrum. Then something in eternal chains. Oh, wait. Belial eternal chains. That's funny. Anyways, we've all heard that breaking a mirror will give us 7 years bad luck, but did you know that if your mirror suddenly breaks of its own will, that means you're about to lose your best friend? If it falls off a wall, it means someone in the house will die soon. Well, that's weird. Good luck, newlyweds. To bring good fortune to their marriage, newlyweds should stand together in front of a mirror shortly after getting married. By doing this, they unite their souls in the spirit world. Covered mirrors. All mirrors must be covered when someone has passed away. We know this. What about the locking mirrors, man? That's what mirror sleep. Many people believe that it is bad luck to sleep in front of a mirror. I always felt weird, and yeah. Good luck scare. If you suddenly scare yourself with your own reflection in a mirror, you can expect a good amount of luck to come your way. If you're upset or highly anxious, you're supposed to gaze into a mirror. The spirit world will take your troubles away. On the other hand, avoid gazing too long if you are sick, because they will find it easy to steal your soul. A mirror belonging to someone who just died must not be looked into. To see your reflection in the mirror will bring about your own death. Scares away evil spirits. Now, brass mirrors in China, they would hang above their idols. This way, any evil spirits who would enter their place of worship would see their reflection and be scared off. This is also the reason why many people will hang a mirror opposite their front door, to protect the home by reflecting back any evil or negative energies. So that points back to what you were saying earlier about having it on your front door. Huh. Okay, so how to lock. Sorry for the lag, guys. This is 4G. It's less damaging to us, so. Consecrated oils. You should be careful when spraying. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Is there any... How do you lock mirrors? Florida water, olive oil, and drawing a protective sign or sigil. Let's check that out. That's Reddit. I have really thought about making my own symbol, like I said, like Prince did. That was probably one of the most ingenious things somebody could do. The fallen angels have them too, but it's harder for somebody to draw your sigil than it is for them to just use your name. Hey, why'd you do that? Did I push the wrong button? Fiddle-dee-dee. New comments cannot be, new votes can. I just want to read it. I just want to read what it says. Oh, there we go. Do you have a silverback mirror? Technically, anything that doesn't require locking, according to most sources. If you do cover them, I would also cleanse them and hang a protective shielding spell over them. You can lock them by using Florida water, olive oil, cleansing oils, and drawing a protective sign or sigil. Visualize a lock and focus on the intent that nothing will ever enter without your permission. See, I don't know if I should do a spiritual warfare on this, because it's just stuff that I've made up that I do. And now I've ordered like consecrated and exorcised salt and consecrated olive oil from somebody who is a friend. They don't charge for the blessings. They just charge for the shipping and the product. But they get them blessed by their priest for me, who is a traditional priest. And they seem to, everything that I've used seems to work really nicely. But you can do this of your own. If you fast for a couple of days and you get really cleansed, okay, you can bless your own olive oil and you can bless your own entrances and exits to your home. And you put a little cross at the very top of the doorways and on the windows if you want, wherever you want to do it, wherever you feel comfortable. But you say, in the name of the Father, the Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit, I am sealing this doorway with the blood of Christ, much like in the Old Testament, to ward off and keep away any and all evil. No plague shall enter my doorway, no pestilence shall come near. And that's just a couple verses from Psalm 91. And I say, in the name of the Jesus, God's will be done. I name it, and I do name it and claim it. I say God's will be done, but I do name and claim. I do both. Because number one, I'm not afraid of words. Number two, I am naming it, claiming it. I do have authority because Christ gave that to us. So again, my ways may not be your ways, okay? Please don't ridicule me, or you have no idea what I've been through. And in uncertain times, when you don't always have a priestly authority figure available to you, or someone who is pure available to you, or someone who is chaste available to you, you need to make your own self those ways, right? So that your blessings count more. Make yourself chaste, make yourself pure, cleanse yourself, so that when you bless your house, when you bless your oil, it is truly powerful. Now, how you would do that, you draw a protective sign or sigil. What I do right now is the cross, with your middle finger and pointer finger of your hand. Okay, so better safe than sorry. All right, what else? Does anyone else? Now, they're all saying the silverback thing, but again, I don't know that there's a lot of misinformation out there. How to lock mirrors spiritually. Seal the portal counterclockwise 3 times and reverse it. Use some type of water to draw a protective sigil in the 4 corners. Use the sun. Wow. See what I mean? Everybody makes, and this is where you get folklore and mythology. History. Mythology just means history. It never meant fake. But they want you to think that it means fake. They want you to disbelieve people like me. They want you to disbelieve the Bible, because the Bible proves the Greek, what do I want to say, pantheon. They don't want you believing. They don't want you stepping into your own power, and they always want you handing out over your sovereignty to someone else. They know we're getting strong. They know a lot of people are figuring some of these things out. They know we're passing around information about consent, which is why they want you to lock in a vote. I'm telling you, this vote especially, something is going to happen to people that vote. It is literally going to, because God is getting rid of our idols right now. In case you've not seen, and again, this is something I talked about on Brie and Jen since day one. We are in the season of exposure, and the season of exposure is almost over. And we're going to enter the chastisement. What comes after being exposed? Punishment, chastisement for a child, right? Grounding. We're all pretty much grounded at this point till we all learn our lesson. He's getting rid of all of it. So if you go in there and you vote for another being to be above your own self, if you vote for another being to speak on your behalf, why is God going to hear you then? If you're doing this, if you're handing away the sovereignty and free will he did give you. This time especially, remember last time when the vote came, people got weird? This time especially, if the vote even happens, something very drastic may happen to mankind, to all the people who are in agreement with the one that they choose. And now I see Father Ripperger encouraging people to go ahead and vote for the lesser of 2 evils. Man, I don't like that dude. I know he's a priest. God forgive me. I pray for his soul. I pray for his conversion, because I don't think he is a real Catholic. And I don't know if he ever was. His focus is on Mary, not on Christ. I don't worship Mary. I love her. I will say the Hail Mary and the Rosary, but I do not worship her. I pray to Father first. He gets all my praise. He gets all my thanks. And then I ask him if it's okay. I'm going to talk to Mary now. And I'm going to give a heads up to a couple of the saints, right? But anything I do has to be with him allowing me to do it. This is not looking good, guys. And I don't know. I know it doesn't make me popular to say these things. I don't care about that. I care about you. I don't want your family to end up like mine. I don't want your family to go through the things my family went through. I see other families going through it still. Again, they're using the same playbook on every family. And there is one chosen one who's already chosen in each household, at least here in America, in my situation. Targeted individuals, whatever you call us. I put a jug of olive oil in my prayer closet, and it gets highly anointed, and salt. She said she enticed... Oh, wait. There's a very old lady who calls herself a witch in New Orleans, and the indie of her home is covered in reflective material. My cousin was putting cameras in for her, and he was freaked out. When questioned, she said she enticed spirits through the one huge real mirror and kept them trapped in a maze with the reflective material. Holy cow, that's actually a really good idea. That's like the Windsor house. The lady, not the Windsor house, Smith and Wesson. That lady. The mansion, how she made it doors and steps to nowhere. I put a jug of olive oil in my prayer closet, and it gets highly anointed, and salt. Yes, I have salt and the oil myself. Very good. See, we've got to be our own advocates for our health, for our spiritual health, for our well-being. You are sovereign. You have the free will. Why are we looking to other people to solve our own problems? It never matters who the president is. Gas always gets more expensive. Products always get more expensive. Minimum wage always goes up. These things will always increase. It is just how it always is. We give it, and if you're giving it all this value right now, I promise you, because I was the same way. When I was removed from the workforce and told I could not work, for a time it was great, right? Because I had a break. But it wasn't so great because my body wouldn't do what I wanted it to do anyways, so I couldn't have that much fun anyways. But the real trouble came when I put my own self-worth in that money, and my own success was wrapped up in that money, and the fact that I was not bringing it in anymore. I lost all worth and value that I had to myself, and yes, sadly to my family, the day I stopped bringing in that income. And the day my son turned 18. Again, a lot of this was pre-planned. We have been watched for a very long time. And the demons are coming for what was promised to them. And unless you repent, they're going to get it. Like, basically using visualization is key. Sometimes you can use moon water, solar water, which you can make yourself, and it's part of how you make ormus, which is ORMES. Ormus means orbitally rearranged molecular... Hold on. Orbitally rearranged molecular elements. That's what it is. It's supposed to be good for, when they first found white gold, they called it manna. This is not an Ormus video, but that is something that I have been on a journey with as well, and I've been using it regularly again since I'm working and I have an income a little bit. And again, everything I buy, just so you guys are aware, if you're having troubles, there are apps out there. If you need groceries, if you need tires on your car, if you got to get somewhere, even if you need a bus ticket, there are apps out there like Afterpay and Klarna. You can pay things in 4. So I get a pair of tennis shoes and I pay them off in 4 payments. I get a pair of jeans, or I get a book. I pay it off in 4 payments, right? In increments of 50 or $100 usually each time. And I'm building up my credit that way. Slowly, but it's happening. But I just want you to know for now, there are ways, around this. And yes, by all means, practice your skills. I've been making spirit wraps again. I learned how to garden somewhat. I've learned how to bake somewhat. Trying to learn how to train dogs somewhat. So I am always learning new skills. The new skills I would like to learn next are with the camcorder, but that would be to make like a whole different type of video, which would be a passion project if God... See, I want to say how far back to go. Like, I want something that goes way back. that's from somewhere that's not in holy water. See, at least she says holy water. And which I also got from this lovely lady on Etsy. I got a spiritual warfare packet that I ordered, and as a gift, she blesses them or has them blessed through her priest. That is a really cool picture. A mirror is a doorway or portal through which spirits, including ghosts and demons, can gain access to the physical world where demonic infestations and hauntings occur. Now, here's my problem. When CERN began, everybody wants to say CERN is creating a portal. CERN is creating a portal in the sky, in the sky, in the sky. You got everybody looking up to the sky, which those things can be holographically done, and I'm not even going to get into that right now. Quit being deceived. CERN is the birthplace of the original internet. It's where the internet was born. That's what we should be focused on. The machine they're showing us, the engine they're showing us, does something else than what they say it does. They've given us all of the pieces, and we've not put them together correctly. They're trying to mess with time, and they're trying to bring these things through. The internet. Through what? Through the internet. How do they get through the internet? Because they're frequencies. They travel on what? Air and water. Frequencies can travel through air and water. Because water has what? Oxygen in it. Water is made of part oxygen. So these elements can travel through water and through airwaves. This is why you see these things taking place on ghost channels and whatnot, always near water. This is why you see UFOs going into water, because that's where they live, okay? This is why things way down deep have those black eyes, because there is no light down there. So their eyes are black, much like the grays. Put all of it together, and what do you get? So, if CERN is where the internet was born, and they're trying to open portals, where do you suppose they might be trying to open these portals at? Through the internet, through your devices, through the screens. This is why they want you watching Netflix, so the movies come into your real life. This is why they were asking me all the time, what are you watching, what are you watching, what are you reading, what are you reading? So I turned off my history on all my YouTube channels, and I watch a lot less now. I watch even less in front of them, right? A lot of the things we're seeing are being manufactured, but we're also being pushed into a certain type of behavior so that it will exacerbate or create these things. Okay, so we know all of this. Where's the locking? Narcissus. Now, Narcissus actually has a lot in common with a creator god in Genesis, but he doesn't fall in love with his own. He wants to share the love that he has, and so he makes us in his own image, because that is the water, and that is where life begins. The womb has water in it. Most natural births are started in water. We need to like a lot of this water baptism, a lot of this stuff goes together, man. Okay, so in Christian beliefs, the devil and demons can enter through mirrors to attack people. Blah, blah, blah. We read that. Lest the soul be lost. Da-da-da-da. Oh, in Russian folklore, we haven't read any of that. Mirrors are considered the extension of the devil because they have the power to draw souls from the bodies. Similarly, mirrors, and in some places of the world, all shiny surfaces must be covered in a house after a death to prevent the soul of the living from being carried off by the ghost of the newly dead. Mirrors are covered in case one sees the corpse looking over one's shoulder. That's kind of creepy. Funny, get grounded. So multifaceted. I was just grounding myself yesterday. She was also tiny and had huge strength and threw him down when he opened the wrong door. He ran. Then he told me he didn't believe in that stuff. Ormus, yes, Ormes. She was also tiny and had huge strength. Oh, the little, okay. He told you he didn't believe after that happened. That's wild. I actually believe that what she's doing will work, although I don't know why she wants to be entrapped in the place herself with all these beings. But if she wanted cameras installed, I know exactly what she was doing. It's actually in part something I'm trying to do, and I'm not going to out myself by saying it right now. I'm just going to say watch Ghostbusters and what they were trying to do. Okay. In an old Persian spell, ghosts may be seen in a mirror by standing in front of it and combing the hair without thinking, speaking, or moving. The American Ozarks, the appearance of a distant friend in a mirror means he or she will soon die. That sucks. Oh, no. For example, I don't want to read that. Okay, if a home is plagued with unpleasant spirit activity, the mirror in the bedrooms should never be placed at the foot or head of a bed. To do so is considered a negative influence for a person to be able to see himself or herself from any angle in a mirror while in bed. Okay. So is this what? Okay, hold on. I think I just put something together. Mirrors also should never reflect into each other, as this creates an unstable psychic space. There are people saying that doing that creates a portal. A folk remedy says a mirror should be placed so that it faces outward towards a door or window. The reasoning being, when the unquiet spirit looks in a window or attempts to cross a door threshold, it will see its own reflection and be scared away. Mirrors can also be closed as portals by rubbing the edges of them or washing the surfaces in holy water, which I have all of the above, so I may do. Mirrors are also tools in divination. Daddy. Since ancient times. We're going to have to look more, we're just going to have to dive right into like Egyptian beliefs, because that's what's like around us the most here. Magic mirrors are mentioned by numerous ancient authors, among them Apuleius and St. Augustine, Pausanias, and Spartianus. According to Pausanias, divination for healing was best done with a mirror attached to a string. The string was dangled into water, and the diviner ascertained whether or not a sick person would heal. In ancient Greece, the witches of Thessaly reputed wrote their oracles in human blood upon mirrors. Pythagoras was said to have a magic mirror that he held up to the moon to see the future in it. Romans skilled in mirror reading were called, yes, we already read that. Catherine de' Medici reputedly had a magic mirror that enabled her to see the future for herself in France. Pierre Cotton, the confessor to King Henry IV of France, had a magic mirror that revealed to him any plots against the king. In Christian folklore, mirrors enabled demons to make themselves known. St. Patrick declared that Christians who said they could see demons in mirrors would be expelled from the church until they repented. Hold up. In Christian folklore, mirrors enabled demons to make themselves known. St. Patrick declared that Christians who said they could see demons in mirrors would be expelled. Huh. That's interesting, isn't it? Why would a saint? See? Pay attention to that stuff. And Voodoo, a magical mirror, is called a mignore. A mignore is made of a highly polished metal and consecrated for the purpose of seeing visions and divination. Only a priest or priestess may use a mignore. For magic, both flat and concave mirrors are used. That's where you get the magic crystal from. Franz Bardon taught precise instructions for making magical mirrors that would be loaded when you do, they called like gemstones, charging gemstones too. Basically just removing all the negative energy from them. I set mine on a windowsill where the sun and moon can hit them and God's nature can do what it does. Loaded or empowered with the help of the elements, the akasha, light, and fluid condensers. The result of such a charged magic mirror should be stored wrapped in silk to protect its energies from contamination. Loaded or empowered with the help of elements. That's interesting. Mirrors are also used in scrying, which we know. The scryer can then go to the astral plane to communicate with the dead. No, thank you. The mirror can be used as a tool. There isn't no one dead anyway. Like, can we just be real about everything? There is no such thing. All right? They're still here. We just can't see them right now. I promise you, they're here. The magic mirror can be used as a tool for investigating the past, present, and future. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so basically, the Aztec used a mirror-like surfaces to keep witches away. A bowl of water with a knife in it was placed in the entrances of homes. A witch looking into it would see her soul pierced by the knife and flee. That's interesting. My mother-in-law once told me in this house, she'd never said this before. Now looking back, I see all the signs that were there. But she's afraid of water. She doesn't like crossing bridges. And she said, oh, well, no, I can't leave out that way. I have to go out the same door that I came in. And I said, what? Why? Oh, but my mother would kill me if I didn't leave and enter out of the same door. I'm not sure why that's a thing. They also say if you drop a broom, if you want to see, to keep a witch, or if you want to test if someone's a witch, drop a broom. They won't be able to cross in front of a doorway. They're not able to like just step over it. They have to lift it up before they enter the room. But I mean, I'm a woman. If I see something on the floor, most times I'm going to pick it up anyway. So again, I don't know how reliable these things are, but there you have it. Mirrors as portals. What do you guys think of all this? Do you think they actually can be portals? In a dream and meditate, a tunnel would become a space door or portal. Okay, here we actually have a PDF, which is interesting. I like when people write papers. I don't know why. I guess I'm just a geek that way. But I like papers. I want to see it. Can I see it? Or do I have to buy it? Just, can you give it to me? I don't know if I'm signed up. Oh, I'm not. I am going to download that and I'll let you know what it has on it. Now, since we did that, I want to show you and give you a preview of this book that I'm going to read a little bit to you either tomorrow morning or this evening, depending on how I figure out. Because I still want to do the vlog video about the Matrix gaslighting me in the mail again. Matrix mail gaslighting. So this is the Quantum Sayings of Jesus, and I want to read to you. If you've ever read the Gospel of Thomas, this is about the sayings in the Gospel of Thomas, okay? But the Gospel of Thomas is so new to us that different people are putting different things together. And allegedly, this guy used somebody else's key. He said he unlocked everything for him, and he thinks he figured out how to read the Gospel of Thomas. I'm just going to read you a little part of it that I bookmarked, just because. Now, the Gospel of Thomas was found with Nag Hammadi Gospels around 1945 over in the Lost, or the, was it the Lost Sea, with the Lost Sea Scrolls or beside the Lost Sea Scrolls. I find it interesting all that happened in like 1945, and in Daniel we're told 70 years, which would be kind of, yeah, kind of now, 80, 90, 70, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. A lot of these dates are lining up with stuff. Okay, so here are a few things about Thomas for us to consider. First, some scholars, including Stephen Patterson, Helmut Koester, and Stephen Davies, have suggested that the Gospel of Thomas might predate the canonical Gospels, or at least it may have been composed around the same time frame that Mark, Matthew, and Luke were written. They're saying it might be like a codex, is basically what they're saying, to unlock the other Gospels. This is significant because, if true, the Gospel of Thomas might have a connection to the fabled Q document, which I read on this channel or the other channel. We read excerpts of the, and again, it's really weird. We had that stuff with Q going on. Please understand they do this on purpose. Like with the movie Frozen, they only made that so people would stop Googling Disney's Frozen head, so that nobody newer would know that Disney cryogenically froze his head, or allegedly did. Okay? That's why they made Frozen. This is why you'll see things repeated in headlines. So when you type in earthquake, you're getting all these Taylor Swift in concert headlines instead of headlines about actual earthquakes. Okay? Same thing here with Q. If you type in the Q document of truth, I think that's what it's called, the book. I'll have to look again. It's in this same Kindle library, so I'll let you guys know. But I wonder if that whole Q conspiracy, whatever it was, thing, I didn't follow it regularly. I heard what most people heard. But I wonder if that started because of this document. Okay, so this is significant because if true, the Gospel of Thomas might have a connection to the fabled Q document, which many New Testament scholars have been searching for, or at the very least, an example of a type of Q document. If you're not sure what I mean by Q document, this is a theorized collection of sayings of Jesus that many Bible scholars believe must have been utilized by some early gospel writers, since many of the sayings of Jesus are found in Matthew and Luke are nearly identical. This suggests that those writers had access to the same collection of quotations to draw from as they wrote their individual gospels. More on this later. So I guess they're saying that the writers of the gospels weren't actually Mark, Matthew, and Luke, but I thought they were. I thought the gospel books were written by those men. So that throws me a little bit, but let's continue. Out of mere curiosity, I first read the Gospel of Thomas several years ago. To be honest, my initial reaction was that it seemed to be a completely nonsensical and worthless collection of the supposed sayings of Jesus. To me, it actually sounded like the pretentious ramblings of someone trying and failing to appear mystical and wise by inventing silly proverbs having no connection to reality. Half of the sayings were borrowed from Matthew, Mark, and Luke. The other half sounded like nonsensical gobbledygook. I tossed my copy aside and dismissed it. But a few years later, someone sent me a book that claimed to explain the Gospel of Thomas. So he decided to carry it onto a plane with him, and he took it, and he says the Hidden Gospel of Thomas by William Guffey unlocked the meaning of those sayings for him. So he explained it in a way that he was able to connect the dots regarding the mystery of where the evolution of Christological development in the early Christian church may have originated. While a lot of what I'm going to cover in these upcoming chapters have been informed by some, he's going to add to it with what he thinks. Now let's get to the... Before we move on, I should also caution you, dear readers, that Jesus we find in this gospel might not perfectly resemble the one you may have come to know. At least he's honest about that and upfront, and love from your New Testament gospels. Yes, the Jesus we find in Thomas does have an important message for us and does convey a certain perspective on things like the kingdom of God and how we should live. But these writings might not always perfectly correlate to what you may assume that Jesus from the Gospels said. Does that mean these Gospels aren't talking about the same Jesus? Who can say? If Thomas, for example, was a type of Q document used by other canonical Gospel writers, it's very possible those writers took these sayings, or at least some of them, and recontextualized them into a theological narrative fitting their own preconceived belief systems. In other words, it's entirely possible, but not proven, that these sayings in Thomas are true sayings of the real Jesus, but documented without the narrative and theological framework we're accustomed to. If so, the meaning of those sayings might have been misunderstood, lost, or even repurposed. It's also possible that this Jesus we encounter in Thomas's gospel is a different one entirely. Once again, however, we're left to decide for ourselves which of these might be the real Jesus and which might not. I highlighted that myself. These highlights you see are my own because this is my library. So cracking the code, it says, Duffy's very simple assertion was this: Jesus was speaking about non-dualism, the oneness of all things. You may start noticing a startling and profound theme. This theme will likely cause you to take the Gospel of Thomas much more seriously, at least for me it did. For example, here's a mere taste of how Duffy's lens allows us to understand one of Jesus' more cryptic sayings from the Gospel of Thomas. Now, I don't want to know what he says because I have my own thought after I read this, and then we'll read what he says. You should always come to your own conclusions before you let anyone else tell you what to think, okay? Let your mind organically work things out. Jesus said, "Blessed is the lion that becomes a man when consumed by man, and cursed is the man who the lion consumes and the man becomes." This is saying number 7. What does this mean? What do I take from it? Don't read ahead. What I take from it right now, and I've not read this before now, and I'm not looking at it. I take that to mean like what we're always talking about this on this channel, the white wolf and the dark wolf, the yin and yang. You can either feed the white wolf, the holy wolf, the good wolf, the one that wants to do good, and starve the dark wolf of evil, or you can feed the evil wolf and starve the white wolf, right? So I think what he's saying here, it's not an actual lion. If you don't understand parables, I don't know if I can help you either. I'll try to help you understand parables, but I don't know how good I am in explaining parables either. I just know that I understand them. Explaining them is different. So blessed is the lion that becomes a man when consumed by man. He's not talking about physically eating. He's talking about the dark wolf within you, the lion that is inside of you, that thing that has anger, jealousy, the face that appears, that springs forth when you are angry or you are jealous, right? Or you are too prideful. All of those things. And the beast within you will consume the reasoning man that God made you. You'll turn into the beast if you feed the beast. However, you will be blessed when you tame that inner lion and make it a part of your inner man. I hope that makes sense, right? So he's not talking about a man actually eating a lion here. And I find it hard to believe I still have to speak to this to grown adults, but he's not actually speaking about literal eating, and he's not speaking about eating a literal lion, okay? So let's see what this author got from that. If you're like me, sayings like this, one will either make you want to either laugh, throw the book against the wall, or both. Actually, I kind of understood it. But then when we reread this through Duffy's filter of non-dualism, we discover some pretty astounding truths. First, both the man and the lion are not to be interpreted literally. Gee, I think here the man refers to the true man within each of us, the true self, if you will. Secondly, the lion is a metaphor for the false self, the ego as we know it today. The lion of our ego fights to be in control, devours its enemies, and accepts the false notion of us and them. The man, our true self, recognizes the illusion of duality. See, I don't know if duality is an illusion. If you're going to tell me there is no such thing as evil, I cannot help you, because quite clearly evil is real, and Christ told us this. Maybe we should just read the sayings, because I get frustrated with stuff like that. You probably don't, but I do, because I am so imperfect. Saying 1, and he said, whoever finds the interpretations of these sayings will not taste death. That means 2 things. Very literally, you will not die. The second thing, taste death, it means you'll stop eating animals, because you'll see that that is the key to most of this. Christ didn't eat animals. They say he participated in the feasts. I'm not going to argue. I just never saw him sitting down eating animals. Ever. He never did that. Never, ever, ever. Rarely did we see him eat unless it was bread. I don't know that he ate the fish either. He gave it to people. Other people. Okay? So let's be real clear about that. So that's what I get from saying 1 is whoever finds the interpretation of these sayings, and they're telling you that right off the bat, you will not taste death. If you correctly interpret these sayings, you're not going to taste death. And I take that very literally there, literally and spiritually. You're not going to physically die. You won't spiritually die. And maybe you'll get the clue is pointing you to not eat of animals. And I know they're saying this is an agenda. And I know you have people calling themselves Christians saying that anti-meat is some agenda. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not pushing anyone's agenda. God has been telling me since right before COVID started, right around 2018, to not eat meat, that it's bad for me, that it will hurt me. All these things are speaking to my spirit. Every time I eat it, I get mad and angry, or I sob uncontrollably. They say you take on the spirit of what there's not enough animals in America to feed us all. What part of that are people not understanding? You're very likely, they just told you human DNA was found in hot dogs. How many more clues do you need to be given? Do not eat no more meat. It's very likely you're eating someone. Stop it. I'm not a doctor. None of this is medical advice, and I can't prove any of it. But a lot of what we have is evidence enough. Look it up. There are not enough farms, industrial or otherwise, to feed all of the meat eaters, let alone to get thrown away by all of these fast food places every night. We're not eating farm animals. That's not what's happening. People don't want to hear this. You probably all bounced. Yep. Nobody wants to hear that. It's the truth, man. Jesus said, let him who seeks not cease seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will reign over the all. So this is your spiritual progression, is what this verse is explaining. Let him who seeks not cease seeking until he finds. So keep going. Keep seeking. You might not like what you find. When you find, you're going to become troubled because you're not going to like it at first. Much like me and Soylent Green and underground tunnels and missing 411 and how all that lines up with the UFO and Bigfoot hotspots and how there aren't enough farms to feed all the peoples we have here eating meat. Something is wrong. They're either lying about the population, lying about the food, or both. So once you're troubled, though, you will become troubled. Then you will be astonished. Because maybe it's not what you think. Maybe there just isn't all these people eating. Maybe it's not as bad as we think. I don't know. And he will reign over the all. Because once you figure these things out, you are truly sovereign then. God wants us to be like Christ. Christ wants us to be like Christ. He wants us all to be a family. But we can't be a family until we've all kind of looked through every perspective and we've all kind of been refined to the point where we know how to treat each other because we know how we want to be treated. Right now, we are giving what we have given. We are reaping what we have sown. And, it just is what it is. So that's saying 2. Let's check out saying 3 because I love the number 3, and then I'll bounce. Jesus said, if those who lead you say to you, see, the kingdom is in the sky, then the birds of the sky will go before you. If they say to you, it is in the sea, then the fish would go before you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will become known, and you will realize that it is you who are the sons of the living Father. But if you will not know yourselves, you will dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty. Because you become where your mind dwells. That is who you become. That is what you become. If your mind dwells in darkness, you're going to be dark. If your mind dwells in heavenly things and you're not constantly in the gutter with your thoughts. This is why even like people say, oh, but you say you're this, you're that. Why don't you stick up for children who are being harmed? Man, I do. In almost every video, I will mention it at least. But I will not talk about the graphics. I will not be like these other channels. Do not send me videos from some of these other disgusting channels no more. I don't want to know what these perverted individuals do to children. I don't want to know. I want it stopped. I want justice for it, but I don't want to sit and talk about it. We're told not to discuss those things. And there are children everywhere on the internet. So why are we so openly discussing these things? We are the ones corrupting our own children because we keep passing this information around. We think we're being heroic. We think we're being we're making a stand for something when all we're doing is corrupting everybody and bringing the vibration and overall frequency down because we're discussing gross and nasty things. Yes, awareness is good or whatever, but then move along, live your life, right? You can't help somebody unless that person's in front of you. But the time of them telling us that this war is happening over here, there, or everywhere, it gave Zelensky a Golden Globe or a friggin' what's his name? Sean Penn gave him his acting award. That should have told you everything. The days of allowing yourself to be scared should be over for things like that. Worry about what's going on in your own neck of the woods and change what you can through the butterfly effect. You change yourself, it'll ripple outwards, I promise you. And if I really am a person who seems to set trends and these things seem to come to people, watch what I do next. Watch what I do next. Because I'm going to test that theory and we're going to see if it works. Because I'm about done with the internet. I've had my fill, man. I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to reach people. But sometimes it feels like I'm just spinning my wheels and wasting my time. If there are some of us out there who start trends, maybe it's us who need to walk out that door and start walking and walk away from the system and have our own exodus. They want to put us all in jail. Oh, I'm scared. You're going to put a roof over my head, give me a bed, and feed me. That sounds so scary. At least in America, it's not. Anyways, I love you guys. Stay blessed. That was just a taste. I was having some technical difficulties with the app and the device today. We will get into, I would do some more shorter uploads about the mirrors. I'm still trying to figure out what to do about this device issue. So thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for hanging out with me, and watch for a vlog later on. Love you. Bye.